Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Boys on the Field podcast. We are presented by Offside Boys, who have the best authentic vintage kits in the city of Toronto. This has been a very highly anticipated episode for two members of this group, one that's been dreaded by two members of this group for, I guess, the better part of a week now. Last week we found out who Canada's World Cup opponent will be for their opening match at BMO Field. It will be Bosnia. I'm Ethan Gabor. We have Ben Griffith. We have Anthony Lancioni and Anthony Santia here to discuss. And if you notice, there was a bit of a theme in two of those last names. They come from the Mediterranean land known as Italia. The team that lost to Bosnia and will not be coming to Toronto on June 12th. We have to go directly to you guys. How are you doing?
Release the Badger
Suicidal.
files.
That was two different answers.
That was two different answers,
Same
but
mood though. We,
there
we, we
was there
got it.
was
We got the
there was
feeling.
the same mood. Obviously, there's a lot to get into from that game, and there's a lot to get into now with Canada. I just want you guys just to take me through. I mean, three World Cups now in a row. Italy will not be playing in. Three World Cups, one of them with a 48 team expansion. How does this happen?
Ooh, where do we start? Wow.
Take just let it all out. Let it all out.
There's just a serious problem with Italian football. It's rotted to the core, corruption, bad youth development, not enough money in the country, in its own professional league, really. It's like what, five stadiums in the country are actually owned by their own teams. The rest are owned by the state. They're in poor condition. They're not even ready for Euro 2030.
Yeah, they're about to get stripped from that Euro. They
Or,
have,
or,
I
or
think,
Euro
until
32,
2032 or
right?
2032.
something. Yeah,
32.
yeah,
Have
yeah.
I think they have until the end of the year to propose five stadiums that are up to quota, and right now it's legit Juventus' stadium, and that's it.
Shout out our club at least.
Really? They
Damn.
fucking suck too.
Yeah, but at least at least they have a stadium.
Santia, what are your thoughts just overall before we kind of get into, I guess, that game
Um,
specifically on the state of
yeah,
Italian football?
yeah, just growing on what Tone said, it's true. They are fucking idiots. Everybody that runs the national team. The fact that you have Gianluigi Buffon, who is probably the most recognizable Italian soccer player of all time, step down in disgust from what he's put forward being on that managerial staff is crazy. You go to Rino Gattuso to take over the team, who was on that '06 World Cup winning team, one of the best midfielders of his generation,
Terrible manager
especially
though.
terrible manager, but that's what I'm
Point
getting to.
blank.
They go for players that knows what it's like to win, yes, but can't manage. Like he managed Napoli, didn't do great. I think he won the Coppa Italia once with them, ironically against Juventus with Ronaldo. But like he's coached in like Croatia and lost his job. Like uh, there's no parameters to manage the national team, and that sucks. Because it's like what are you gonna do? They need to look outside of Italy for a manager. England's finally done it with Tuchel. Like Brazil has an Italian, which I would love to coach the national team, but he would never do it because it's not a winning project. I don't know what they need to do. They need to fire everybody, which they've started to do. It's a mess from the top of the federation to the bottom. Everything's wrong. Um, just the fact that you're letting a 14-year-old Bosnian kid fucking blow your chances of making the World Cup is wrong. Like the fact that you even got to that point is wrong. Getting blown up by Norway is wrong. Getting blown up twice by Norway is fucking wrong. Getting to play in a World Cup qualifier is wrong. The fact that you have to fucking flip a coin to see if you're home is dog shit. But whatever, that's FIFA for you. Um, Again, I'm just pissed off, but it is what it is. If you don't win, you don't deserve to be in the World Cup. Losing to Bosnia is, I don't understand how we've fallen so far. I will say not as bad as Macedonia, but losing
Yeah, but
losing to
even if they
Bosnia
beat
is
Macedonia,
rough.
bro, they were gonna have to play Portugal in the next
And
round,
but
and they would have got
that
they
goes
would
to
have.
me saying that the World Cup qualifying is fucking bugged. The fact that last World Cup, if Italy were to beat Macedonia, it would have either been missing out on the Euro champs at the time in Italy or Cristiano Ronaldo and one of the strongest squads in the world. The
Yeah,
way to
all because
qualify is
Serbia doesn't
insane.
have goal line technology for some
Brother,
goddamn reason.
Sweden qualified for the World Cup on 2 points in World Cup qualifying.
Yeah,
Two
they didn't even
fucking
win a game.
points.
They didn't even win
They
a
didn't
game.
win a single game. And this isn't even Italy not making it. I couldn't care less. I feel fucking bad for Poland. The fact that
Yeah,
they're missing out on
and
World Cup.
Lewa.
Lewandowski's not going to be in a World Cup because Victor Gyökeres got 2 points in qualifying because of the Nations League, which isn't
All
even a
right.
fucking FIFA product. Sorry.
No, you're good. I love the rant. I want to bring Ben in here because we've gotten the side of the Italians over here on my left. Ben, obviously, from our perspective, for us, this was just about who's Canada's going to play. I mean, we take a lot of, I guess, enjoyment in watching these two over here. I mean, what are your thoughts just overall on that game and Bosnia coming out on top on pens? It was obviously a crazy game with the red and everything. Just thoughts on those two teams, thoughts on that matchup and the I guess the ramifications of it all.
Um, well, first, I just gotta hold on, sorry.
Mm.
Uh,
Hey, I'm a mutt, buddy. I got the Portuguese jersey in the closet. I'll throw that on right now.
I'm having a
Canada,
great,
boy, Canada.
And Canada, yes. I do need a cop, a Canada jersey.
you definitely do because
Offside boy, shut up.
yeah, offside boy, shout out, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, definitely there was definitely like a part of me that wanted Italy to make it just because the atmosphere in
Mhm.
Toronto would have been incredible. Um, But at the same time, I'm more kind of excited by the fact that BMO Field will be red as
Yes.
opposed to half red, half blue. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even if you're, I say Italian, like, you're like a lot of Italians in Toronto are Canadian. Like, they're
yeah.
born in Canada, they're raised in Canada, they've been to Italy a few times, don't speak the language. It's Canada's time, and it's almost great that Italy didn't make it. I think personally, from a football fan, I think a country like Italy should be at the World Cup, like just full stop, like no matter who you support. But at the same time, for Canada, this is kind of perfect. We saw the Italy Canada jersey swap thing that Canada soccer did, which was fantastic. They didn't end up actually taking any
Mhm.
Italy kids; they just gave out Canada jerseys, which was awesome.
Fake
Uh,
fans. Find every single one of them.
Sellouts. You know what? Part of me
Hold their
did want to go
passport if
trade
they
it.
have one.
No, you see,
I think it's
part of me did want to go trade in my Chiesa jersey, not because it's an Italy jersey, but because that guy's a fucking sellout. Okay.
That
I
guy's
think
never playing for the national team again.
at some point, you have to be as proud of your country as you are your grandpa's country. You
Well,
know,
and let's
this is Canada.
I
This
love
is
that point. Sorry to interrupt if you're still going.
no, go. I was just gonna say it's just like and I think the beauty of Canada as well is that you can support Canada and you have the license to support a second team, which is fantastic. But I always do think Canada should be that first. Now that
And
we're
this, yeah, and
I
this is
agree.
exactly where I would go. I totally agree with you. I mean, in my like head, just because of like what that would mean, having Italy play at BMO Field would have been an amazing spectacle. It would have been unreal. But at the same time, there would have been a slight embarrassment factor of this is our country's first ever home game at a World Cup. And the stadium would, like, let's be honest, 50-50, 70-30 Italy, Canada. Like, it does sort of bring this, I guess, renewed attention to, you know, the line of who you support and how that's decided. And I get it, for such a long time, Canada never had anything to cheer about in terms of football. And so naturally you would just cheer for what your heritage is. And we see that, with Portugal, with Italy, with Brazil, just any community that has a lot of representation in Toronto. But the reality is, and you bring that great point, like, Canada's here now. Canada has a team. Canada is good. And it's time that we really fucking come around to bringing everybody in. I get it. You have your heritage, you have everything, and you can tell what it means to these guys as well. Like, just simply because it's a team they've supported and a team their family supported for the whole time. But Like, this is Canada's time, and we will have Bosnia. It will be awesome. The jersey swap thing was absolutely hilarious, and I love how many people got pissed off by it. Just made it even more funny to me, this whole situation. I won't lie. But yeah, you make a great point there. I do want to throw it to the Italians here, kind of building off that. I guess with you guys now, like, there's no qualms about supporting Canada anymore. Is that at least a somewhat of a silver lining for you now?
Well, I've made that
Yeah,
clear
you've made it
from
very clear,
day
but
one that I'd always
mhm,
like even if Canada somehow played Portugal,
mhm,
I'm gonna root for Canada. Like obviously, like if Portugal win, it's like a knockout game. Like I'm not gonna be mad about it.
mhm.
But like in regards to this game, honestly, I think like a draw would have been the best result for me, just with
Probably would
Yeah,
have been the result, honestly.
honestly,
yeah.
yeah. But I think a lot of like Italians here that like were born here and all that, I think a lot of them need to face an honest truth. Like like if that matchup ended up happening, where the common thing I like that I hear is, "Oh, I grew up watching the Azuri, but
Mhm,
this ain't the Azuri you grew up watching, bro.
Yeah.
mhm.
It's not. That those days are long gone. Clearly, you can't even make the damn competition anymore. There's no more Pirlo's, Buffons, Cannavaro's, Del Piero's, Totti's. That is long gone. Like that country's a shell of its former self. Um, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
have
I have a question.
if I were at BMO, I would have had a Canada jersey on for that game. No
Right,
doubt.
right, big tones. I have a question for the Italians here, and I don't mean to be an aggregator when I ask this, but do we think that Italy is actually as big of an international giant as they're made out to be, internationally speaking? From club level, the Serie A has been the best league at many points throughout history. They've had the best players in throughout history. But Italy, they have four World Cups, which is obviously tied with Germany for the second most. But if you put the four Germany World Cups and the four Italy World Cups on a scale, the Germany World Cups I feel like would weigh a little more. Italy having won two of the first three World Cups when some nations weren't even
I
involved
mean,
because they
had the
didn't.
world was a completely different place, yeah.
You had eight, like, to win those two World Cups, Italy won 8 games. You have to win 8 games now to win one.
Mhm.
They've never been the best team in the world. Even in '06 when they won, you look at '02, '04, '08, and '10 as a kind of some context, it's not great. And even in '06, not to say you stole it, but there were definitely better teams at that tournament. Same thing in '82, a weird double group stage, kind of a weird format there as well. Do we think that Italy is actually as big, internationally speaking, as people make them out to be?
Yes. I think historically, yes. And it shows, look, we on our last episode, we were just talking about it when it comes to TFC. Our hope is that we just make the playoffs. After that, literally anything can happen. It's the same thing with the World Cup. You qualify, literally anything can
Yeah,
happen.
but that's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the mentality of Italian fans going into World Cups. Germany's not thinking that. Spain's not
No,
thinking that.
that
France not
that's the
thinking that.
mentality of a
Belgium.
Canada fan. That
That's
shouldn't
the
be the
mentality. Yeah,
mentality of a
that's like,
world
oh, just
giant.
get in, get
Yeah.
get in, and we'll see what happens. Isn't a world. That's not a
No,
dominant
but
force on the
But
international
that,
stage.
but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that these tournaments are so unpredictable, anything can happen. Italy's mentality, whenever they're in a tournament, is win. Maybe not recently because of the drop off, but again, I'm 22 years old, right? So I was like 2 years old when Italy won in '06. But if you asked my grandfather at the time his thoughts, it would be they should win 1,000,000%. My grandfather, his entire life watched soccer, right? It is different now than it was even 20 years ago. If you ask Italian fans now, the ones that actually know sports or actually know football, have legitimate takes, if you ask them, are they a juggernaut today? If you field your best 11 today, would they make the World Cup? No, because they didn't last week. Do I think that was their best 11? No. I think Gattuso's an idiot. He put out the wrong players, didn't even call up the right players. But it is what it is. I think today that you cannot consider 2026 Italy a juggernaut. If you look at them historically, yes, they are. The amount of World Cups there's been, the fact that they were able to have four, almost five, because if you do remember Baggio's missing penalty against Brazil, they
Yeah.
almost had a fifth. They almost flipped with Brazil, right? You can't look at the South American teams and say, oh, well, are they juggernauts? Yes, because they won 13 Copa Americas, but it's the same five teams always in it, right?
No, no, but that's not what I'm saying though, Santia. I'm talking about not just the tournaments that you've won, but in between those. Like you look at '02, you don't make it past the first round of the knockouts. 04, you don't make it out of the group. 08, you don't make it out of the first round of the knockouts. 2010, you're the first World Cup team to not make it out of the group. 2012 is good, semifinal. 2014, you don't make it out of the group. But you compare that to Germany when they won in 2014. 06, they're in the semifinal. 08, they're in the final. 2010, they're in the semifinal. 2012, they're in the semifinal.
Oh, 2012 final for Italy, not semifinal.
Or sorry, no,
Yeah,
okay, but,
lost
not,
to
but for Germany, like there's
yeah.
a build, there's a build, there's a consistency there throughout where even when they're not winning it, they're still
They're always
competitive.
around.
They're
Yeah,
still,
I
I
under-
don't,
You
I
make
don't
a
think
point,
it's the
yeah.
same way with
I
Italy.
understand what you mean.
I think
but
there's
that's
too much. I
fine.
think there's way too much recency bias with that take, to be honest with you, because
But,
no,
but
but
recency
half of your
recency
World Cup-
spans over 12
Yeah.
years now.
And half of your World Cups
they
came through
won the
the
Euros.
first three World Cups.
But I did say if you ask
Okay, hold on,
Italians
hold on,
today,
hold on. Ben, let me ask you this question. What are England then?
I'm Canadian. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
Buddy.
Canadian. I'm Canadian.
Okay,
No,
but
I'm not bringing up. No, but
I'm not
this
calling
is
you.
not England though. We're talking about Italy. We're not
I
talking
know,
about.
but I want to ask you this: would
Bring up
that
Brazil then?
would that mean England?
Let's bring up Brazil then, though.
England
Like,
England is
Lautaro,
consistently in the mix though.
Like,
but they don't win.
They don't
Ultimately,
win.
you
I'm
wanna
not saying that.
No,
I
no,
don't
but
I
I'm
don't
saying
consider
but
them the
like
same
I don't know
giant
why
as like a
England's being
Germany.
mentioned. We're talking about Italy. I'm talking about
Outside of the
Italy
last
as
two
that-
Euros,
If you have to compare
England
them
have
to
not been in
England,
the
that's a
mix,
bad
bro.
start from you.
Okay, hold on.
Compare them to England, that's a bad start. England's not an international giant. They've only won one World
Okay.
Cup, and you're comparing them
All
to
right,
England.
hold on. So then, Ben,
But they have the
What
biggest
co-
league in the world.
I know I'm talking internationally. I mentioned Syria has been the biggest. You've won Ballon d'Ors.
Yeah, but see, but the thing is, think of the correlation though. The Serie A has fallen off, and so is the Italian national
Sure,
team.
and maybe that's the answer that I'm looking for. But I'm just asking: do we think not England, not Brazil, not Italy? Do we think Italy, based off of the history that we've seen and recent? You can say recent history, but recent history is still history. Are they? Is this why they're now kind of trailing off here? Because maybe they're not as big as people are making them out to be.
I still think they are. But my question to you, Ben, is with your parameters that you've just given me, what are the generational giant countries? What would you say?
No, I don't think that it's not the biggest insult either, because I don't think there's
No,
many.
no. I'm not taking it as an insult, but I'm just saying
No,
based off of how you're
no.
going.
Yeah, no, I'll answer your question.
What would be the
I don't think there's
countries?
many of them. Like if even Brazil is the only one, or Brazil and Germany are the only two. I'm not saying there's five and Italy's not being in there. Like I'm saying maybe they're just a tier below. Maybe they're not the big giants that we think are going to be competitive every single year at the World Cups, like Germany have kind of always been, like Spain have been in the 21st century. That's all I'm saying.
Now Italy's only missed 5 World Cups all time. That's including the last 3 that they've missed.
A lot. I wonder how.
I understand that's a lot, but again, if we go back 12 years ago, they've only missed 2 and won 4.
I know, but
They've
that's
won
part of
multiple
history.
Euro Cups. But that's what I'm saying. But that's why with my answer, I would say of all time, yes, they are one of football's giant countries of all time. I would classify Brazil. I would classify Italy. I would classify Spain. I would classify Germany. Those are the 4 that I would go to right
Spain,
away.
but in reverse logic, Spain's only been massive in the 21st century.
But that's what I'm saying. Recency bias is there, right? I would classify Spain there. And I also think going forward, Spain is going to be the country to beat for the next 15, 20 years because of all the young talent that they have.
But it's a prediction. Like I don't want to talk.
I think
because let's not forget to like Germany have been grouped the last 2 tournaments as well.
It was a chain where the World Cup winners would be grouped. France broke it in 2022. That it wasn't just Italy that had missed out. It was all of the countries that had won the previous World Cup. That's the thing.
Brazil has not been elite since they won in 2002.
You're not going to win with
They can never miss a World
guy.
Cup because with the format you can't miss out of South America.
No,
you can lose 9 games and not miss.
Like there is
and even if you do, you match up to a country in North America for your qualifier.
Germany's only missed 2. You guys have missed 5. That's a
the last 3 years
that's just the last 3.
A lot.
No, but it's part of history now. Like we got to consider that, though. No,
but
I think
I
two
agree,
things can be true at the same time, though. Is that like Italy historically was a giant? Maybe they're not anymore. That is where I think like the
and I'm
correct
actually
answer
not even
lies.
saying I'm not even saying that they weren't a giant. I'm just kind of throwing that out there and just seeing like the reaction, because I do think, like I said, a team like Italy should be at the World Cup every single year. That they are one of those teams. 100%.
And this speaks to just the qualification process and kind of how
Yeah.
You know,
But
I
they
mean,
I
fucked over
think
certain
Curacao, like
countries.
to think that Curacao is going to be at this World Cup and Italy
Yeah.
isn't is like
I think we're saying the same thing though, because you were asking historically if I think Italy is a giant.
Hmm.
Yes.
no, just
Right
no. I mean,
now,
like I mean, like ever, like
ever,
historically,
yeah.
like
But
you
things
look
Yeah.
at the
change.
entire stage.
Yeah. I think again, today you can't classify them as a giant. All time, 1,000,000%. They have to be classified as one of the best teams of all time. Best defender of all time, Paolo Maldini. Best goalie of all time, Gianluigi Buffon, right? So
Arguable, but
of course you can argue them, but
no,
when
but
you
no,
ask
but
the
no, but
actual
Maldini's not arguable. Maldini is the greatest of all time.
Mhm.
Maldini is the greatest of all time. And okay, the way I'll put it, Gianluigi Buffon is your favorite goalkeeper's favorite goalkeeper. What
That's why I say it's goals.
I can't say anything when it comes to the greatest of all time in positions. I don't play soccer. I'm not a professional. I like to see what the professionals say. When you ask any goalkeeper who's your greatest of all time, they say Buffon. He's got the respect. He's got everything, right? Greatest of all time, longevity. Neuer's getting there too. Being 40 years old, smoking Madrid, that's
Mhm.
sick. But I think Italy has to be considered one of the greatest countries of all time.
Yeah. Well, this debate can rage on forever. I mean, clearly there's a lot of passion here, obviously, from both sides. I do want to talk about what our main focus normally is, which is Canada. I mean, we do know the group now. It is Bosnia, Switzerland, and Qatar. We saw Canada play in two matches last week, friendlies against Iceland and Tunisia. Davies has returned here. We're still sort of waiting on what's going to go on with Alistair Johnston. Ralph Parisot is going to be out for, I believe, 8 to 10 weeks. Lots of news just in Canada land. We only got a few minutes here to discuss it. I'll just throw it around the horn here, guys. Thoughts kind of after the last couple weeks, sort of as we get closer to June here.
I have a bit of a hot take here.
Sure.
I thought they played well in these two friendlies, but I think we've reached the point of just being happy with them playing well, putting a good product on the field, having good players, being managed well. Like that was the first step,
Yeah.
not losing 7-0 to Honduras. That'll never
Yeah.
happen again, I
Yeah.
hope. We've reached that point. We played Belgium off the park that first World Cup
Mhm.
game. I want results now.
I mean, I will say to that point, I mean, you look at who is missing from those games. I mean, you
I
have
get that. I get
no
that.
Davies, no Promise, no Bombito, no Estacchio,
They're missing a
like no
lot.
Alistair,
No, but
like
still
that is
though,
not your
I
that is
agree, I
not your
agree
top
with Big
squad.
Tones. I
I
agree.
get that, but like
It's a caveat though that I'll throw
Well,
that out there. I'm not
well,
happy with them either. Like they should be winning, but at the same time, I don't want to throw a shit ton of stock into those two games.
it was even in the Gold Cup, dude.
No,
Like
I get it. Yeah, like they should.
there's just something missing when it just comes to just winning game. Like
Yeah,
there's an actual art to winning games.
yeah.
Like
The one
not to bring it back to Italy, but they're
for
like
sure.
they'd win a World Cup playing ugly football,
yeah,
whatever defensive you want to call it, but they won.
you got to figure it out.
You
No, for sure.
gotta win games, man.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not
I can
worried
sit here
as
and
you are
say,
though.
oh, this group's easier now that it's Bosnia and not Italy
Mhm.
or whatever. They should top the group, finish second in the group. I'm genuinely sitting here like, do we score against Qatar at this point? Like, I'm being dead
No.
serious.
No,
Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
can we
I
find
think
I
the
get
back
the
of the net
worry.
against a Qatar team, let alone
Again,
Bosnia and
I get the
Switzerland?
worry, but I don't put the same amount of stock into it, I guess,
I I
as
think
you do.
I think I agree with Tones just because
Mhm.
like when I think, and I'll say this quickly because I know we don't have too much time. When I think
Yeah.
of last World Cup and us heading into Qatar, we were kind of riding that momentum from the
Yes.
octagon, from qualifying and all that stuff. So
We
we were
have
going
none of
to
that
the
now,
World
yeah.
Cup and we were just on a high of highs. Now we don't have that. So when you're looking back at just the results here and there that we have to look at, it's just not as convincing as you'd hope. But
Mhm.
it's weird though because there is sort of that same excitement and momentum this time around, but it's not coming from our results on the pitch. It's coming from the fact that we're going to have the fans in the stadium. Like
Mhm.
it's almost coming from like we're not relying on our recent performances heading into the World Cup. We're actually relying on like the atmosphere and like
Yeah.
the fact that BMO Field is going to be all
Well, I
together.
think I think there's that too. And honestly, I know it's 2 years ago at this point now, but the last major tournament Canada was at, they did have like their best showing ever, which was
True.
Copa
That's true.
America.
Semifinal.
And that was truly Canada at its best, like in their best form. So I think people are still honestly riding somewhat of that wave. I know I kind of am still like again, that's what that's what saves me. I get the Warriors and everything like that. What saves me is the last time we saw Canada in a meaningful tournament. I mean, they went to semifinals and like, let's be honest, they probably should have came third. Um, and again, just we haven't seen a full strength Canada squad in a while, which is a bit of a worry, but I don't know. That's like I don't put a shit ton of stock into it, honestly.
My only hope now, again, because Italy got knocked out and it's Bosnia, is this whole storyline from Jesse Marsh and Team Canada was we're Canada, go for Canada, we're gonna play for Canada.
Mm.
You lose some of that momentum with Italy not even being there. I'm hoping that A, the players aren't taking a backseat because they think it's going to be an easier game because it's Bosnia. And B, I hope that Jesse Marsh doesn't drop that fire just because
No, I don't think you will.
you don't necessarily have to plead for the fans. You know what I mean? Because that definitely was their game plan. It was to show we're Canada, not Italy. We're gonna beat you in Canada in Toronto, right?
See, I
Whereas
think that
now,
still works though.
but do you think? But my thing is, I don't think they have the same amount of fire because you're not pleading for every single fan to wear a red jersey
I
anymore.
mean, listen, I'm sorry if you can't get fired up for fucking home World Cup, like you're in the wrong sport, you're in the wrong
Mm.
line of work,
And I a million percent I agree. But
and you know,
that's where I'm worried because again, we just saw them fucking concede two
mhm.
because fucking Daniil Henry can't make a back pass.
Terrible goals.
But like
Like,
again, like these guys aren't going to be playing.
well, we hope because of
Yeah.
injuries, right?
Well,
Like
yeah,
that
that's
was our
that's a whole other
fifth
topic.
fucking
I know.
center back. Oh, they worry me.
Yeah, there's a lot of worries. All right. Do we have a Santia surprise for this episode?
We do not. The surprise is seeing me pissed off.
That's a
Okay. Well,
total.
that's good enough surprise.
That's
We'll
totally.
finish it off with Ben's prop of
Yeah,
the
because
day
I got a
here.
good.
I just gotta say quickly,
Oh, go.
they can't. The whole Canada team better watch that Bosnia Italy game because Bosnia might not have the sexiest
Dude,
of
they were the
They were
better
names.
team the
good.
entire
They were
match.
good.
They're
They
the
But
were
better
those
team
really
boys
the
can
good.
entire
play, man,
match.
and that
That's
that
gonna be tough.
40-year-old Dzeko will
Oh yeah.
bleed for his
Well, the
name.
Yep.
guy on the right side there, that guy was tearing you apart
Dude,
all game.
how many shots did they get? Like
Well,
25?
I can tear
That
DeMar
is also
Conley up too because
because they were down to 10
that
men
guy
for
Of
the
can't even
course, but
defend
second
each
still, I
other.
hour
mean,
long.
like, you know. All right, let's get this prop of the day here, boys.
This might be the best prop I have
Oh
on
no.
the
Oh
podcast.
no.
If it's just a Bosnia flag, I'm hanging up.
No, actually, I was looking for a Bosnia kit to wear, but I didn't have one. And I was like, a
Bastard.
Dzeko kit, Lake City, obviously. But I do have, just in case you guys forget what this looks like. I just wanted to. Just wanted,
Whoa.
That's
so,
sick.
That's awesome.
Hey,
so if
you
you
know
How'd you
who's
get
gonna
remember,
be
that?
who's
this
gonna
is
be
what we're
touch you know who's gonna
competing
be
for this
touching that?
year.
You know who's
This
gonna
is
be
what we're
touching that?
competing. This is what Canada's competing for this year, like last year or 4 years
Dude,
ago.
how'd you get that? That's sick.
Dude, I've had this
Stole it
plenty at the
from
heart. I don't know if we should
Stole it
include
from
this in the
Messi.
Cannavaro.
podcast. I have to cut this out, but I got it from Colombia, and I'm almost certain it was used to smuggle some stuff. Hole right there,
Hey,
and it's hollow. So
hey,
it's a
Ben,
heavy
flip it
still, but
over. Flip it over.
See if there's a dime bag in there.
Does that say Italia in 82 and 06? Okay, just checking.
no,
Just
it's weird though.
checking.
It doesn't have your first two there because it's so far. It's so far. It's so far. It's so
Oh,
far
wait,
away.
so
It's not even in
there's
there.
two more that aren't
Because
even
Italy,
listed
Mussolini
on
was in
that?
charge when they won.
Italy
Got
didn't
it.
even compete in the first World Cup because they thought it was a joke. And then they go and they're just like, yeah, we'll just grab those two. Easy.
We'll take
Oh
those in between
man.
the war.
If they didn't, Mussolini would have killed them.
That's
Pretty
fair.
much.
Well, boys, we'll
We've
wrap
gone
this up
political.
on that note. That was a fiery episode, and I wasn't expecting anything less. We'll be back next week.
The best episode.
We'll be recapping TFC Cincinnati. Hopefully, there'll be a little bit less infighting within this group here. For my boys here, Ben Griffith and my two Italian compadres, Anthony Lancioni and Anthony Santia. I'm Ethan Gabor. This has been Boys on the Field. We will catch you next time. Thanks for
Release
listening.
the Baggio files.
Bye.
Yeah,
Release the
release the
Baggio
files.
files.